If you haven't seen the previous video in this series, follow the link on your screen or click the link in the description or pinned comment below.
"24 seconds of glitch versal low cast combos. You know, that thing I always say."
Yes, we do know, and we are sick of it. Drawing attention to the fact that you do the same thing all the time does not absolve you of doing the same thing every time.
Blumhouse, 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 Blum, Blum, Blumhouse, Blumhouse, Blum, 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 Blumhouse, Blum, 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 house, house.
Jeremy sings in a video cliche.
If you're here because of the video game, this is about as much Five Nights at Freddy's as you're gonna get, so you might as well turn back now. If you're here to trigger your Chuck E. Cheese PTSD, hang around a little longer. But I have to ask, what's wrong with you?
So I guess you just meant the first game? Much to my chagrin, there are 20 games and over 40 books in this franchise, and surprisingly, this movie kind of hits a lot of the beats, much more than just the first game. I mean, the main antagonist of the film doesn't appear until the second game, so you're wrong.
These CCTV monitors will not factor into this movie at all.
Factor. What does this word mean? I know, let's ask Merriam and Webster. Here we go. Definition 2A. One that actively contributes to the production of a result. Since the function of a CCTV monitor is to, well, monitor things, what you're saying is these CCTV monitors will not contribute to the production of a result, that result being monitoring things. Well, as we can see here, it looks like these monitors are contributing.
How exactly are these lights turning off one by one? Because if the movie expects me to believe that each of these lights has their own light switch, then I do not believe you, movie.
Very interesting perspective you have there, considering this movie is quite literally supernatural in nature. It's also a stupid perspective, as they're not even remotely trying to tell the audience that each one of these lights has a switch. What they're actually showing you is the spirits are guiding the security officer where they want him to go. You know, because it's a horror movie.
Between the screw this security guard was easily moving with his fingers a couple minutes ago, and now this easily accessed screw, I believe the movie doesn't know how to screw correctly.
Neither do you, because that's a bolt.
Taping posters to your walls or ceilings as an adult. Overspend on getting it framed at Michael's and hang it up crooked like a real adult.
The purpose of the image isn't to look good. PETA here is having trouble remembering an event, and this image helps him relive that event in his dreams, which is why it's on his ceiling. What I'm saying is, the real sin is him being a backsleeper.
This has nothing to do with the movie.
Okay then, skip.
Peter does a full Hunger Games when the situation needed half a Paul Blart Mall Cop at most.
Hey, you stole my PETA joke. Okay, it was the obvious one to make, but at least mine wasn't a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the film. Cliche.
What is it?
It's a security gig.
Considering Mike just got fired from a security gig and probably charged with assault, the fact that Steve is saying he has another security gig for him should raise a red flag for Mike. But it does not. And now I know Mike is a f***ing idiot, and I will most likely have to watch a f***ing idiot do f***ing idiotic things for the next 90 minutes.
How long have you been a human, my dude? If since birth, you should know that people tend to not find themselves at fault for a lot of the things that happen in their lives, even if it was their fault. This is why incels complain about Chad and Tyrone, or why 40-year-old women are still saying men ain't shit. Lack of accountability. Besides, in this case, Mike needs a job to support his sister and keep her from being taken away, so to him it would simply appear as a second chance. You know, like Drea getting pregnant.
I wish someone would buy me a ring.
Because a ring and a spouse is all a girl needs to become a true woman.
I'm not sure how the hell you got all that from a person simply wishing to be married, but, okay.
With this ever-changing angle of attack, there is no way this plane should be maintaining lift.
CinemaSins in 2024, guys. Their view counts are starting to make sense.
How about some burger with that ketchup?
That is a perfectly fine amount of ketchup, and if anything, it might not be enough. Keep your condescending husband-dad sarcasm to yourself, asshat.
Objection. Everyone knows the superior burger condiment is barbecue sauce, and you only need a dollop. Noob.
Garrett?
It would seem that choosing to go pick up a Frisbee over making sure your brother is safe is a bad call. But, I mean, it's a Frisbee, and it's yellow!
This seems like victim blaming to me. There's no way Mike could have known there was a predator here looking to kidnap his brother, and he's just a kid. This responsibility falls squarely on the parents, and I say this as the oldest of 5 boys who was often put in charge of looking after his younger brothers and got into trouble when they got out of line. You're goddamn right I'm salty.
Jane, like I've said before, Abby is not mentally ill.
Oh, right. Perfectly normal to sit around drawing pictures all day.
Movie chooses to make Mary Stuart Masterson play a character who is an uncaring asshole. And let me tell you, movie, Mary Stuart Masterson is some kind of wonderful, goddammit, and my untamed heart can't take it.
Literally sinning characterization. I keep telling you, Jeremy thinks these characters are real.
Also, there's nothing I like better in my animatronic come-to-life-and-kill-people horror film than a little domestic dispute over who gets custody of a child after the parents have died. As my mother always says, there's just not enough Kramer versus Kramer influence on the horror genre today.
Okay, I will admit there is some interesting lore behind this series, and this film would probably be better served following that lore to a T than the silly "my brother was kidnapped" plot. That being said, this is a movie, and a movie has to properly set up its premise. This conflict is the literal reason Mike accepts the security job, which sets the events of the film into motion. You seem to be saying that this is irrelevant to the plot, but you're clearly missing that this sets up the plot.
The fake number in this fake movie has no fake area code, and the fake address has no fake city or fake state. And I challenge the brave few of you who watch this movie as attentive as myself to prove that Minnesota is not a fake state.
Well, let me introduce you to a film from 1999 called Trippin', starring Dion Richmond. At timestamp 8 minutes 14 seconds, you will discover just how real Minnesota actually is.
Let me give you a little backstory. This place was huge in the 80s with the kids.
5 nights worth of exposition coming right up.
More often than not, I let you have the exposition dunk, as I really don't care to argue against it most of the time. But with this series, an exposition dump is an integral part of the experience. That's all this series is coasting on. Lore. Because we all know the gameplay ain't worth a damn.
Floodlights on the outside, cameras inside and outside. Fair warning, the electricity is a bit iffy.
This is way too much detail for this guy to not be a villain.
No, it's not.
Locker scares, 82% more annoying than bookcase scares, but only 31% less annoying than end table scares.
I mean, come on, did you honestly think you weren't getting a jump scare in this movie? The game this movie is based on is literally Jump Scare the Game. I'm surprised it took this long, but then again, it was only night 1.
This idea that anyone thought a fox with an eye patch and a hook hand would be pleasing to kids.
Fam, do you know how popular this shit is with Gen Z? It literally was pleasing to kids.
So the goal here is to make Josh Futterman look bad at his job by breaking into Freddy's. These doofuses do it when he is off duty and shouldn't reasonably be held responsible. Good thing Vanessa will show up later to explain that he can be held liable for leaving a door unlocked because of his sleeping pills. Really glad this is what I'm getting from my experience with 5 Nights at Freddy's.
So now you're simply undermining your own criticism by explaining why it makes sense? You know, that's my job, right?
If that is actual money coming out of the machine, why would anyone leave it behind? And if it's game tokens, what use does Jeff think he'll have with those outside of Freddy's?
When I watched this film, I kid you not, this scene reminded me that I sin CinemaSins for a living, because my first thought was, not only will Jeremy think that's real money, he's also going to ask why they would steal tokens, and lo and behold. I'm either really good at my job or I've been doing this for far too long. Anyway, are you seriously asking why they would steal metal, Jeremy? You know, the material that can be melted down and sold?
Movie takes 41 minutes and change to finally 5 Nights at Freddy's.
Kinda like the game, huh? You notice there's a number in the title, right? I wonder what you think that means.
You know, none of us are against watching smart people make smart decisions in horror movies. I'm just saying, give it a shot one of these days. Quit expecting us to enjoy people being this goddamn stupid.
I agree, but this is a play on the bite of 83, an event in the lore of 5 Nights at Freddy's. I'm just saying this is something fans of the material actually did enjoy.
Newsflash, if you're too whacked out to remember to lock a friggin' door, accident or not, you're liable.
People who say friggin'.
I resent that. But there you go, people that say, now all we need is for CinemaSins to send a Birdman, as if I actually have anything worthy of sinning. Yeah.
Also, why would the door the thieves came in through be unlocked? Mike has never entered or exited that way the entire movie.
Do you not see the crowbar in this dude's hand? Oh, you thought that was for decoration. Got it.
You and Abby, you still have each other.
This feels like it's a great time to remind everyone this is a movie about discount Chuck E. Cheese animatronics that come to life and kill people.
It's also about learning to let things that weren't your fault go and to focus on the people you still have. Also, those animatronics are populated by the souls of abducted children, so this conversation is literally about that same premise you described.
Throwing sleeping pills into the water supply is a good way to get all the animals in the area all f***ed up.
Fam, that is a sewer outlet in Minnesota. Trust me, those animals are already fucked up.
I like Mike, but it is negligent as f*** to do his sleepy time travel bullshit right now with Abby here, starting to side with Aunt Jane. That makes me feel all f***ed up inside.
I don't know why you're treating this as a sin. The movie suggests that Mike is not the best candidate to be the caretaker of his sister. That's what the scene of him going apeshit on a dude at the mall was supposed to get across. Mike is troubled. You seem to think that because a character is the protagonist, you're supposed to side with them on everything. You watch movies like a child.
Vanessa, what do you think?
I think we could use the tables for the fort.
My favorite part in every horror film is when the killer animatronic build a fort with a little girl.
Yep, I'm gonna have to agree. I don't like this series at all, but the one thing I will give the games credit for is maintaining that the animatronics are antagonists. This shit completely took me out of the movie, and I have no idea what they were looking to accomplish with this.
What are you so afraid of?
Vanessa deflects the question when the answer should be ghost zombie bots. Hell, even if the movie wasn't about ghost zombie bots, she could answer with ghost zombie bots.
This sin genuinely puzzles me. Usually I can tell when you've seen a movie and are pretending to not have information you actually do in order to fake a sin. But here, I'm having a hard time telling if you don't realize the animatronics are being controlled by her dad, which is what she is actually afraid of. It doesn't matter though, as you uploaded this video with this mistake in it, because either you or your editor should have caught the reason she's afraid, so a sin's a sin.
What did you do?
Obviously, this jerk corrupted the sanctity of bacon and used it to trick you into the room. Read the room, Abs.
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
As many times as the animatronics have been through this rigmarole, you would think they would learn to install more sturdy screws.
This is literally the first time someone has escaped this Saw game. What are you talking about? And it's a bolt, you Goosebumps choose your own adventure villain.
Freddy?
I can tell this is a different Robert bot than the one at Freddy's because the face is all messed up. And I would have just assumed it was the same maniac who kidnapped the other kids if discount Macaulay Culkin from The Good Son hadn't shown up in his non-corporeal form, and we didn't get this shot later of the same bear android sporting a very not human neck. So now it's just a detail that creates confusion while having no bearing on the story.
What the hell is even that?
I found you and you were badly hurt.
This is seriously the only explanation we're going to get as to how Mike escaped death at the hands of Foxy? I think this is seriously the only explanation we're going to get as to how Mike escaped Foxy.
They specifically showed Mike getting the door open at the last second, so presumably either Vanessa opened the door or Mike got it open himself and was attacked by Foxy as the door closed.
Where'd you go?
I'm guessing he went through the same portal hub that Jason Voorhees and Ghostface use so they can be wherever the next jump scare is most needed.
Oh, so you understand that they teleport, but when FB said Michael Myers does it, everyone loses their minds.
He influences them somehow.
So the villain yet to be named, but who is definitely Matthew Lillard, killed some kids and put their bodies in animatronic robots. And then those kids turned into ghosts that can inhabit your dreams, and Matthew Lillard said, "Oh, cool, I can work with this." And somehow he devised a way to get those ghost androids to do his bidding. What the absolute is going on right now?
Welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's, a series that has never made any sense, and people mainly like it because of the fan theory for low-budget horror titles craze it helped popularize. But that's not the real sin. There's no fucking way you knew Stu was the main antagonist of this film. Come the hell off it. Hell, him being the villain makes absolutely no sense in the first place. If you know anything about the purple guy, you'd know he should have been in Springtrap since the movie started.
These dumb f***ing robot kid ghosts don't notice this.
Don't notice what? The grate slamming on the ground or Mike popping out of the vent? Because the movie made it kind of obvious the music they're playing is very loud, which would mask the sound of the grate, and they showed that this vent was out of their view. So why should they notice it again?
Sure, self-sacrifice is noble, but there are no other threats around you right now. Maybe she could also hand you the taser, so you can stun the cupcake and continue protecting her. Just a thought.
No, the real sin here is that's a fucking cupcake. This kind of thing in horror movies legitimately bothers me. This is why my brothers and I consider Child's Play to be a comedy film, because these grown-ass adults are being tackled by a 2-foot doll that is literally made out of plastic and stuffing. I mean, at least Megan was titanium. This is a cupcake.
First I killed your brother. Now I kill you. Symmetry, my friend.
Don't threaten me with math, asshole.
Huh?
Also, the movie casts Matthew Lillard as a surprise killer in the final act, but does not contain a scene where he says, "I'll be right back."
I always come back.
Close enough.
And now, for some reason, they are able to control this guy's suit. Are these things networked? Is it ghost powers? Was Skynet started by ghosts?
Okay, now you're cheating and manipulating a scene. They showed earlier that the springs in the suit were very sensitive, and you cut out Carl Cupcake biting Springtrap's abdomen, triggering the springs. They're not just controlling his suit. Either you're too stupid to understand what's happening, or you're making shit up and lying to your audience for no reason.
I always come back.
This can't mean anything beyond threatening us with a sequel unless these suits automatically turn you into a ghost. And if that were true, I'm certain this movie would have made that clear. So it didn't just end up with Easter egg on its face.
I don't care about anything you just said. Why are you showing a scene you asked for and pretending this doesn't count as the Scream pop culture reference you wanted? I mean, I know this is a line from the games and all, but this could be why they hired Matthew for the role. But hey, that's just a theory.